Have you ever been working on something and you just can't quite get it? Maybe it's something new, you just can't quite get it. Maybe consistency is your problem. Welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name is Graham Wilson, and today in my basement, I'll be telling you uh, how consistency can help you learn just about anything and improve your landings. Okay, but first, as promised, in my last episode, right at the very end, I left a real cliffhanger there, and I was going to do some work on my toilet. So here's a toilet update. And what does this have to do with landings? Absolutely nothing. But I don't care. It's my show. I can do what I want. Okay, toilet update. Check this out. All right, I replaced this bad boy yesterday. 12-inch supply line for the toilet. It was leaking right up around here, just a little bit, just enough to piss me off. Ooh, bad joke. Just enough to piss me off, but yeah, to tick me off. And yeah, you kind of see the seal in there is a little bit worn out. And the thing is, when it comes to water leaks, it's a real, oh man, it's such a pain because it's like, where's it coming from? Where's the real problem? So you kind of go up to the top and you're feeling around. Is this wet? Is that? Where's it coming from? Turns out it was this thing, and I've never ever had to replace one of these supply lines ever in my life. Uh, I just thought they just kind of lasted forever, but I guess not. I did some research online, and apparently these guys here, so this would hook up to your main water shutoff, the water line coming in, and so these things last about 10 years from what I've heard on the internet, read on the internet, and yeah, it's about 10 years old. Just the smallest drip, you could probably stick a bucket under it for another couple of years. And I didn't really want to tighten it more and more and squish the seal in there, because then now you're stripping the plastic here and now you're into a big problem. So it's always best to nip things in the bud before they get out of control. The new one's fine, costs about $10 at the hardware store. There we go. If you are a pilot, you will be dealing with toilets at some point, whether it's cleaning them, repairing them, or whatever, or telling the mechanics that the lab is not serviceable, and then dealing with the customers that have to hold it. Okay, so enough toilet talk. Let's get into just kind of learning stuff. Okay, like, so I'm a flight instructor, so I teach people how to fly, and so this is a thing that I have found. Well, I'll tell you where I got the idea from. I was looking at the Twitter, the X, and somebody mentioned some thread that was on there was mentioning about how, or it was kind of showing how an Airbus adjusts its seats up and down, back and forth. Boeing does that too. All the big jets, they all have very, very adjustable seats, because we all come in different shapes and sizes and everything like that. So the seats should accommodate most of that. And so I was thinking, yeah, that really does make a difference where your eyes are in relationship to looking out the window of an airplane, and that will affect your landings. And it affects the landings mostly, that I've found, when you're just starting to teach someone how to fly. So if you're a student or if you're an instructor, maybe you've heard this, maybe you haven't, but I have found it to work definitely for me. And I guess the good news is, no matter what size and shape you are, you can. I've seen gigantic guys to little tiny girls all safely learn how to fly an airplane and how to land it. So yeah, there's a lot of jiggling around you can do to make it work for you. But at the beginning, you should be consistent, ideally. And so part of this is because a lot of when you're learning how to fly is just trying to get the right, what they call a mental image, or like a mental picture of what's this thing supposed to look like. And the brain is a really interesting thing. Jordan Peterson, like him or not, he's really big on having goals, right? So you have a goal, and then your brain will figure out a way to get to that goal. And kind of makes sense, like you'll figure a way out. Say, I'm hungry. I need some food. I will figure out a way to get food. So will you. I'll go upstairs and see what I got in the fridge. Okay, that's moldy. We'll throw that out. Or we'll go over to the freezer here and thaw something out. Or hey, maybe I'm a poor starving pilot and I got nothing in the house. Okay, where can I grab some food? If I go back to the airport, I think there's some leftover donuts. And you will get in your car and you'll figure out a way to get those donuts. So it's the brain will, you got this mental picture of what you want it to look like when you're landing or whatever area, whatever maneuver you're doing in the plane, climbing, descending, turning. You want this to look like that. And then your brain will figure out a way how to do that. It'll make your hands move to manipulate the airplane. It'll make your feet move to manipulate the airplane. And pretty soon you're not even really thinking about it. And your brain's just making it do what it wants. So you can think about this like if you're driving your car. Okay, so we'll start from we'll kind of work up to the landings here. So if you're driving your car as an example, you get in a car and you're like, we got a brake pedal. Which one of those is that? And then the gas pedal. Okay, yeah. And then I can't reach it. Oh, I got to adjust my seat. Okay, and then so now you're sitting here and you're going to be driving, and then at first you're kind of wiggly and jiggly in the lane. You don't know exactly what it's supposed to look like, but then because you've been sitting there with your seat adjusted, you're looking out the window and you know what it's supposed to look like when you're driving down the road. You're not supposed to be zigging and zagging in the lane. Most people, your whole life, you've seen people are just driving in the middle. So you look down the road and it kind of, you stay in the middle of your lane. Okay. Or like say you're playing guitar. You want to advance at playing guitar, but if you hold your guitar up here, okay, that's one way of playing. But if you're like Slash and you want to be a real rock dog, it's way down here. And then if you're inconsistent in between the heights of the neck of the guitar, you're going to have to adjust your wrist, you're going to have to adjust your arm, you're going to have to adjust your rock dog pose, whatever you got to do. And so that will slow your progress in learning how to play guitar. One more example. And so, like, say you're hammering a nail. Okay, you start off with the hardest way of nailing a nail in. I just happen to have a hammer because I'm at my workbench. Okay, and then so you tell me in the comments. I think I got a nail up here. Oh, come on. That's a little one. Okay, we got a little nail. And so when you're a kid and you're learning how to nail, you just kind of, just like that, you'll, make it nice and easy. You nail it in. You're not going to start trying to nail a picture in, ideally. And that's kind of tricky. Or you're not definitely going to go upside down, to nail a nail in. So you want to start out somewhere easy, put your little tiny picture, tap, 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 or something, put your 2x4s together. Okay, so you're going to start with something kind of easy. And then the more you do that consistently, now you can go and do something weird and try to nail over your head. Okay, let's get into landings, pilot people. All right, so this is the thing, the consistency to make your landings, learning how to land a plane better. Okay, so talking about those previous airplanes I was talking about was Airbus and Boeing, these jets and everything, that they have the very, very adjustable chairs, up, down, in, out, pretty much like your car, but with a lot more travel in the airplanes because you want to be consistent all the time. And so this is when you're learning how to fly. Oh, hey, Harold. Yeah. So let's just say, get the old whiteboard out again here. So when you're learning how to fly an airplane, you're going to look out, you're going to see a certain sight out the windshield. Well, what's it going to look like? You're going to have the horizon, you'll have some trees, you might see the top of the instrument panel there. You might see the nose of the airplane. Usually little airplanes, you can kind of see the cowling in the front. So the way your eye, I'm going to try to draw an eyeball here. Let's see. I don't know if I've ever done this before. Does this look like an eyeball? I don't know. It looks like an eyeball to me, I guess. And then you're going to see maybe, what do we got here? We got, we'll have the instrument panel here. Maybe the nose of the airplane. Okay. Isn't that the best you've ever seen? So here's your eyeball, and you're looking maybe at the top of the instrument panel, and there's the cowling, the nose of the airplane. And when you're looking out the window, like most of what you see is kind of peripheral vision. The field of vision that you can see right at somebody is it's like about 1 or 2 degrees, where you're really focusing on one little thing, and then you got to kind of move your eyeballs around to see. So let's just say you can see a 1 degree field of vision. That's up, down, left, right. So we're looking down here. What's 1 degree? Okay. And there we go. So that looks exactly like 1 degree to me. Okay. Now that's what you're used to seeing. Okay. Now let's just say, and when you're landing or something, let's try a red one, because red is safety, red is danger. Here we go. Now your eye height. Now you've been doing this maybe a little bit, but you're not really paying attention to your seat height or where you're sitting forward or backwards in the airplane. You might be sitting a little bit more forwards, and you might be sitting up a little bit more. Some of these, maybe your eyeball's up here somewhere. Okay, now your field of vision. Now the distance between your eyeball and the cowling and everything. So you're used to seeing this. So you want to see maybe this point here is right in line, right? So if you want to see the cowling up there directly in line, whoop. Okay, now to do that, you're going to have to tilt the nose up like this. So let me see here. Now you're tilting the nose up like that. Does that look about right? And you're seeing like this here. Okay, but now you can see if you have an airplane that's got its nose like this or up in the air like that, that is the difference between the KD-12X. Okay, I'm looking like this normally. I change my eye height and I want to put the nose up like this. So between here and here, that's a big difference if you're going to be coming into land. So you want to keep that. That could be like, oops, I kept it like that, and then I kind of ballooned it up. I lost a bunch of lift and plunked it down on the runway. Or the other way, maybe I'm landing too flat. So having like consistent eye height will make you put the nose exactly in the same place every time. And then now your instructor can tell you, okay, yeah, bring the nose up a little bit more. Perfect, right there. Put the nose right on the horizon, something like that. And like, okay, if the eye height is the same, you're going to be putting the nose of the plane in the same place every time when you land. And then as you do that more, now you're putting your brain is figuring out, aha, this is what I have to do to get that perfect mental picture that my instructor showed me. And there you go. So that's why you have those adjustable eye heights. And if you have that works on the big jets too. When you're coming into land, they're used to seeing the whatever is consistent for that pilot, whether the pilot's a little bit shorter, a little bit taller. It's got the seat back a little further to accommodate the big pilot gut that it comes with the big airlines. Those guys, it's kind of like they always say, airplanes are kind of like, what is it? Pilots are like goldfish. So you put the goldfish in a bigger bowl, it gets bigger. So you put the pilot in a bigger cockpit, the pilot gets bigger. That's kind of what they say. So it's generally kind of true. So I like to stay in the little cockpits myself, just so I don't turn into a big goldfish. And yeah, so if you can keep that consistency going, and then this also comes on to like, okay, you're a senior pilot now, you're flying in the big airlines, and you're going to be flying in some weather that maybe is a little bit trickier, definitely would be trickier than when you're first learning how to fly. So the other thing about the consistency and of eye height, of sight picture that you have out the window, or even it could be like where you're looking on the instrument panel. If you're sitting lower, your eyes will, oh, where's my little artificial horizon thingamajiggy? Oh, it's up here, just that extra couple degrees. And now you're looking at all the gauges and things, or your glass cockpit panel. it looks just a little bit off. And so your brain has to take that extra little millisecond to go figure out, okay, what am I looking at? So to have it consistent, that can eliminate those millisecond corrections where you're looking for the information you need, and then you're going to land better. And this especially comes in handy if you're in a high stress situation. Maybe you're fighting some strong winds, crosswinds, or something like that, wind shear on final approach. And so all that extra brain power you need to make that plane go and do what you want, it's getting a little bit of that it's kind of a little parasite there, kind of taking your brain energy away because your eyeballs are not in the right position. So yeah, so that's where the consistency can help out in high stress situations. Well, not really high stress, we'll say high concentration situations, for a senior pilot, or and especially for because when you're learning how to fly, it's super stressful, and you're like, you can get brain overload and all kinds of weird stuff. But eventually, if you're consistent, you'll kind of you won't think about it as much. You won't have to think about it as much, and you'll just get better and better. It's like anything, like nailing in a nail. You'll get better the more you do it. Okay, and yeah, that's kind of all I really wanted to talk about today, because yeah, I don't know, just keep it consistent, and yeah, it kind of makes sense that yeah, well, if I keep doing the same thing every day, I'll get better at it. Surprise, surprise, yes you will. Wow, it took a real genius in his basement to tell you that, right? So anyways, yeah, I don't know. That's about it for today. If you, oh, and here we go. This is an example of how. Okay, how will I know if I get in this new little airplane? How will I know what my ideal seat position is? Okay, so you should ideally be able to look out the windshield. Like I've seen it where someone was having a trouble landing. And I looked at it, and like my one instructor was having a tough time teaching this other student how to land, and then I saw that she was a little bit shorter, and I could see like like she couldn't see out, like her head's under here looking at all the instruments. She couldn't even see the sky at the top. So over the glare shield or over the instrument panel. So I said, "Can you see anything out the front?" And she's like, "No, I never can. I don't know what I'm doing." It's like, "Oh, okay, adjust your seat up." So those airplanes had adjustable seats where you could crank it, and the seat would go up. And I said, "Okay, just make it so you can see the top of the cowling at least." And she was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, but now my feet can't touch the pedals." It's like, "Okay, well, we'll get a cushion. You can put a cushion behind your back, put you a little bit closer towards the instrument panel. You'll be able to use the rudder pedals. Okay, so there's ways of adjusting that seat, and once you find it, lock it in. Say, okay, I keep my seat all the way up and all the way forward, and I use a cushion. And once you do that, you get that consistency. And she eventually went on to be like a very good pilot. So yeah, and for me it was I kind of figured that out on my own when when I was learning how to fly. I usually figure out things the hard way. Oh, just gotta get this here. Can't forget about my cap. I can't have my little dollar store crappy markers running out or drying out on me. Okay, yeah, so I kind of figured it out. Like, this feels weird. With this one feels weird. And then I found a good seat position for myself in the plane that I learned how to fly on, and eventually I went solo and kept on going. So yeah, find out, and then just say, okay, I my seat goes all the way to the bottom and all the way back, and then forward 1-2 notches or something like that. And there we go. And you remember that, keep it consistent, and then you can start fooling around if you want. Like you're on a cross country trip, or even in your car. You can get the gangsta lean going in your car if you want. You just stretch your back on the highway or something. But if you're getting into traffic, you're not going to want to do the gangsta lean with your foot out the window or anything like that. You're going to want to be. You're in traffic now. You got stop and go, so you're going to adjust your seat closer to the consistent way that you usually drive. And same thing goes with airplanes. You can stretch your legs out on a cross country or something like that. But when you're coming into land, okay, back into consistent landing position. And yeah, airline guys do that too. So That's about it. So Harold's by himself. Actually, Harold's not by himself in the chat here because he's with me. There we go. Cool. Glad somebody showed up. Uh, it's nice when people show up and I'm not just talking to myself. But hey, I don't care. Like I said, it's my show. I'll talk to myself if I want to. What do we got here? And what's Harold saying here? If you do the inconsistency long enough, it'll be consistent. Yeah, sure. And you'll probably get better at it in an inconsistent way. Like if you look at like Slash from Guns N' Roses playing his guitar way down at his knees, that's got to be so. I mean, the guy can shred. I mean, he's got great. I could never do that. You got to bend your wrist around and you're way down here, and but it works for him. His that inconsistency for him became consistent. Now he looks all cool with his rock star poses for Guns N' Roses. Here we go. Yeah, so when Harold was a kid, brother gave him a board and a bunch of nails and a hammer and said, "Go practice nailing those in." That is exactly what everybody should do to their sons and daughters. Grab a 2x6. Here's a whole bunch of nails. Here you go, kid. Go nuts. Bang them all in. Oh, I hit my thumb. Well, don't hit your thumb. Eventually you will learn. So, oh, here we go. And then he's talking about my comment on the inconsistency only refers to guitar practice and not piloting an aircraft. Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of what the example I used. So, okay, great minds think alike, Harold. All right. So, what day is today? Today is Wednesday. That's about it for today. So, I will be back on Friday because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern. And yeah, I'll just kind of shut her down. So, thanks for showing up. Oh, Dustin was in here too. Good stuff. I like hearing compliments. Lay them on me. Makes my head, if my head gets too big, I'll have to get a bigger camera though. So, anyways, yeah, so I'll be back, yeah, Friday, and we'll just kind of shut her down. So, thank you for watching. Bye.